Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. When Jesus looked up, he saw some wealthy people putting their offerings into the treasury. And he noticed a poor widow putting in 2 small coins. He said, "I tell you truly, this poor widow put in more than all the rest. For those others have all made offerings from their surplus wealth, but she, from her poverty, has offered her whole livelihood." The Gospel of the Lord.
Today is the feast of St. Catherine of Alexandria. She's one of my favorite saints. She gave without restraint of her whole life. Catherine of Alexandria was 18 years old, and she was a very gifted philosopher. Through her studies of philosophy, she came to see the truth of the gospel. She came to see the beauty of Christianity. And one day, the emperor, who was persecuting the Christians, Maxentius, she challenged him to a debate about the beauty of Christianity as opposed to what they were practicing. She was so sharp and witted that she embarrassed the emperor. He brought in 50 of the greatest philosophers that he could round up to challenge her. And at her words, those 50 philosophers were all converted immediately to Christ because of the way she spoke and the logic she used. And so you can imagine that Maxentius was a little bit upset about this. And so he decided he was going to toss her in jail, which he did. He also killed all the philosophers who shamed him, the 50. He went out to the outer rim of his empire, checking out the camps. And while he was gone, his wife ventured into the dungeons because she was curious about this very intelligent young girl. And so she was immediately converted to Christ. Then about 200 of his soldiers, elite soldiers, were also curious. And so they started to visit her. They were all converted to Christ. When Maxentius came home, he found out what was going on. They were all martyred. Every single one of them, except Catherine. He needed to torture her for a little while because he wanted to get his due. She is known for a torture instrument called St. Catherine's wheel. Anybody ever hear of that? It's where someone is placed on a wheel and they spin them until the brain gets mushy and you're dead. That didn't work for her. So he ended up having her beheaded. I'm not saying we all have to be martyrs, but there's a revelation here that is connected to the woman with the 2 coins. She was unrestrained in what she was giving. Catherine was unrestrained in what she was giving. The people who were converted by her were unrestrained in what they were giving. Here among us, we should be unrestrained in our giving. as students, unrestrained in perfecting your studies so that you can be people of wisdom and perfecting your faith in a Catholic school so that we can be model Christians to show the world what light of Christ is all about. Those of you who are married and have had children, you've already done plenty of unrestrained things, raising children. Is that right? And marriage in itself as a vocation requires being unrestrained so that that marriage is successful. And for the priest, everything has to strive to be focused on Jesus Christ and to uphold the gift of the Holy Eucharist so that Christ can be present to the world. And so with who we are, God can give us the grace if we desire. He can give us the grace to be unrestrained in our aspirations, especially those that are pure. And what it all comes down to is, hopefully we don't have to suffer martyrdom. However, being unrestrained in our faith is what gets us to heaven. And so, we see what the poor widow has given. We see that Andrew and Peter abandoned their nets to follow Jesus. And we see Jesus, who was unrestrained in giving his life for his friends on the cross. Prayerfully and with the sacraments, we must pray and strive to be unrestrained for Christ.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquam meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit, alleluia.